Hello, this is James Stone for vlog. I'm learning, so right way to say it, not vlog, vlog number 2. And yesterday I talked a little bit about my goal this week of changing my scheduling process, and today I'm kind of into implementing it. So what's happened since then is yesterday I did sit down and I went through all of my tasks for the way that I've been doing it in the past. And I use a program called CardFlow on the iPad Pro. Really like working with it. It's very similar to working with index cards and feels a lot like working with the real paper for me in the digital realm. And so I use the same tool and I kind of brainstormed, well, what are the things I want to be doing in my business? What are the projects I want to work on? What inspires me? What are the things that need to be done, such as administration and client work and this type of thing? So I brainstormed, put them all together on a board, and then I said, okay, what am I going to do this week? So I had to kind of be choosy and say, well, I can't do everything, right? So I did this, and then I created a grid, much like Dan Johnston does on his video. He's using actual index cards and sticky notes and things like that. But for me, I used the same thing, put it together and kind of came up with a plan for the week. And it was interesting because it did a couple of things. One, it forced me to think about 5 days of work versus one. In the past, I've done maybe like a weekly task list or a weekly list of goals that I want to accomplish. But usually I'm thinking about it more in terms of maybe a day at a time. So I create like a to-do list for the day and just kind of go for it, right? And that works well, but often what happens is that you end up at the end of the day and you end up feeling like, oh, I didn't really accomplish that much, because I tend to put too many tasks on the list. I'm overly confident about what I can accomplish in a day. It's kind of a letdown at the end of the day. So this process working yesterday worked pretty good. I don't think that I accomplished everything I wanted to, and I didn't get through all the blocks that I wanted to exactly. But for the most part, I did work in that particular order. And it gave me some organization and structure that I think really helped. It helped me to stay on task, avoid interruptions for the most part. I think in general, it was kind of a good move. There was 2 things that threw a monkey wrench into it. One was I'm working at a co-working space and I was interrupted, which is actually a good thing. I'm trying to meet people here in Finland, and so it's a great thing. But for an hour and a half, I was involved in this conversation. So, the problem with that is that, once that hour and a half is gone, well, then the time is gone, and how do you make it up? Well, you can't. But what I found is in the evening, I did spend some time working a little bit longer, and I was very aware that I missed this block of time. And so I did try to make it up. I think I fell a little bit short, but in general, other than a task list, where it doesn't really make sense, in terms of, it's hard for me to look at a task list and say, okay, it's this much time. I can very easily look at these cards and say, okay, I've got an hour left or 2 hours left, and this is what I should be working on. Maybe I won't accomplish any specific goals, maybe I won't hit these particular tasks, but I'm going to work on this particular project. So that's kind of a mindset shift. So the other thing that kind of threw me off too is I was invited to an event today, which again took a significant amount of time. And I think it's kind of a call I made that I was going to go to this event instead of what I kind of planned out. Now, normally if I had a task list, I would just feel really behind at this point. How am I ever going to make it up? But I think what's happening is today, when I'm looking at this block of cards, I'm thinking more about, well, I have these cards. Maybe I'm not going to accomplish all of them. but maybe I might rearrange them a little bit based on this change in my schedule. And so this, I think, is something kind of profound for me and interesting, because as a entrepreneur working for myself, life happens. You get sick. There's something happens unexpectedly, or there's some opportunity, right? There's something that's important to do, family or otherwise. And so there's kind of this guilt feeling, right? Always feeling like you're behind, and like you have to make up that time, because when I'm sick, or today, like when I went to this event, nobody is doing the work for me, right? It's only I that I'm doing the work at this point. And so what's interesting now is I feel like I'm being more intentional about my choices. I feel like I may be thinking about the consequences, thinking about how I can make adjustments, and thinking in a time scale beyond the one day, beyond the next task, beyond the most urgent fire to fight. And so this has kind of been a big change for me with the scheduling so far. So I'm only day number 2 into it, and my day's been kind of thrown off. But so far, it's been an interesting change. I will be reporting back, obviously, on how things progress through the rest of the week. And if you have any questions for me about this, or about how I'm scheduling things, or what I'm doing in my business, or if you have any questions about web development or design systems engineering, let me know in the comments. Okay? I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.